I woke up this morning with my fist clenched, angry, upset. Now, I didn't know that there was still an NFL Pro Bowl until literally yesterday. I thought they had canceled it. They have changed the name. It's now called the Pro Bowl Games. And even though there's no bleeping chance I'd watch a second of the Pro Bowl. Hell, I'm probably taking that Friday off before that weekend. I think it's dumb that there's 2 weeks between the conference championships and the Super Bowl, but I am incensed by the lack of respect for the Houston Texans. Only one Houston Texan made it to the Pro Bowl. Laramie Tunsil. And I got to say, I mean, with all the false starts this year, But hey, I'm too lazy to study NFL tape of offensive linemen, so I'll allow it. Makes Bill O'Brien look a little bit better, too, seeing as he traded the 2 first-round picks for him way back in the day. But no C.J. Stroud. That is surprising, especially when, in a down year, Patrick Mahomes made it. Now, C.J. Stroud is an alternate, and there's a couple of Texans players who are alternates, but I'm not even sure what the Pro Bowl is going to be this year. All I know is it's pretty doubtful that we'll see a lot of players opt out, right? Because, I mean, what are you opting out of? It's the Pro Bowl games. They're going to play what? Tug of war? Among other games, Sean Mapes, the kind of games you'd play in your backyard, like cornhole or bags, whatever you want to call it.
Do they
horseshoes?
I think they still do dodgeball.
Ooh. Now, dodgeball actually might be an enjoyable one.
I mean, no, well, they've done it for like 7 years, and we forgot that they do it. So it wasn't until just now when I was like, yeah, I feel like I remember them doing dodgeball. They do like this best catch competition where it's like guys jumping off of platforms, like making diving one-handed catches and stuff, where it's kind of like the dunk contest in both, like, that's what they're trying to make it, and also it kind of stinks, and so it's kind of like the dunk contest like that too. And flag football. They play a flag football game, right? They still do that? Was that the thing last year? It was Peyton and Eli were coaching the... Am I making this up?
You know what?
Was that
you
a
could
COVID
make it
thing?
up, and honestly, Sean, I'd believe it because, again, I didn't watch it last year. I'll never watch it again. Yeah. I'm definitely not watching it this year either. But I need to make content on Thursday, January 4th of 2024, and I am outraged by the fact that the Texans have just one Pro Bowler. Clear anti-Texas bias from the NFL league offices in New York City. You had a lot of alternates. Will Anderson Jr. is the first alternate as a defensive end. Derek Stingley Jr. is the first alternate as a cornerback. C.J. Stroud's the second alternate, which is surprising. You would think he'd be first alternate, whatever. Andrew Beck is the second alternate as fullback. There's probably like 2 left in the NFL. Nico Collins, fourth. Jonathan Grenard, fifth with his 12.5 sacks. That doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. I'm outraged, and you should be too. Now, here's the real question. We talked about C.J. Stroud being himself. This is a chance for D'Amico Ryans to be himself, which is a leader of men. Is he going to be able to rally the disrespected troops and have them play the best game of the season in the biggest game of the season for the Texans in what will be the biggest day of their lives? You have to wonder. Now, on a serious note.
That wasn't a serious note?
This is a serious note. There's a very low threshold, Sean Mapes, in 2024 for what classifies as athlete disrespect these days, right? I mean, in the NBA, Russell Westbrook believes it is a shot at his entire family if you call him Westbrick. We saw that entire saga between the Chiefs and the Bengals last year where there was just some trash talk being sent back and forth, and it turned into disrespect of cities, of stadiums, I guess of statues. That was the only thing that wasn't. It doesn't take much for someone to feel disrespected these days. Did you see Derek Stingley's reaction to being the first Pro Bowl alternate, even though he's played like how many games this year?
9?
8? Look, he's played well in 9 games.
But he's played 9 games. Like,
right.
He's missed a lot of time.
He posted a picture of LeBron James wearing sunglasses with headphones on in 0 dark 30 mode, I'm assuming. Which is
that picture's from when he was down 3-1 against the Warriors.
Gotcha.
Being like, I'm not worried.
Okay. But, I mean, he made it as a Pro Bowl first alternate. Honestly, like, that's pretty impressive considering he's played in 9 games. He's played well in 9 games. Is this really disrespect? Is it really disrespect if you're the Houston Texans and you're not in the Pro Bowl? Because think about this. No one's willing to talk about this except for the man who has lived in Florida for a couple of years. The Pro Bowl games, guess where they take place? Orlando, Florida. This isn't in Vegas like it was last year. This isn't in Hawaii. It's in Orlando, Florida, which is a hellhole. Disney World isn't fun unless you get the whole park to yourself, which every senior high school student gets at the end of their senior year. It's not fun when it's filled with all those people. Their spawn walking around with them. Paul, do you hate kids? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying go to Disney World and spend all the money you'll spend there in Orlando, Florida, a landlocked city in Florida. But Paul, there's a little water in Disney World. Yes, man-made lakes. Man-made lakes. It's not good. So this isn't really disrespect. It's honestly a favor being done to the Texans. Could be used as motivational fuel. Could be, hey, guess what? Next year we're going to do it somewhere else. You don't have to go to Orlando this year. But Derek Stingley's taking it as disrespect. Titus Howard tweeted about how CJ Stroud should have been in. I actually agree, but not being elected to the Pro Bowl games, I suppose you want to get honored. Maybe there's clauses in your contract. You get a little bit of a bonus for that, but it's honestly not disrespect because this is already the worst of all the all-star games in sports, which is saying something. And now it's not even an all-star game. It's just like, hey.
It's like the Olympics because it's the games.
Right, Sean?
Except it's dodgeball and tug-of-war instead of like the javelin.
I wonder how many people will opt out because it's, again, in Orlando, Florida, which is a terrible place.
Well, you got to think the team, I assume the Ravens have a lot of people that got elected. I assume whoever made the Super Bowl probably has a lot of people get elected. So a couple will get in that way. And then, I don't know, people are probably going to get hurt or at least like get surgery before then.
Yeah, I would think so. I actually wonder if anyone's going to get hurt during this. I don't root for it.
That'd be the funny. I don't root for it either.
It's not good. Robert
Edwards. It would be
Edwards,
funny if someone got hurt playing dodgeball. Yes.
I still am mad about how in 1998, Patriots running back Robert Edwards, who was a rookie first-round pick from Georgia, had a really good rookie year, tore his ACL, never the same player, after playing flag football on the beach. And it was a designated Pro Bowl event. It was a designated event. Like his career ended in that moment. It sucks for him. But there is a part of me that wonders if somebody's going to get hurt. And again, it won't be funny for that guy, but imagine getting hurt playing tug of war. You're like an NFL player. It's essentially the same thing as me getting injured. I played football. Played every single down of my senior year. Never got hurt. Guess how many flag football injuries I've suffered, Sean Mapes?
3.
3, exactly right. 2 broken wrists, 1 broken finger.
Wow.
Hashtag glass.
Both wrists, too. That's, wow.
The same bone, scaphoid bone. It's the tiniest little bone.
That's on your NFL draft red flag list now. It's like, well,
Yeah.
watch out for
He's brittle.
Watch out for the wrists.
He's
too.
brittle.
Like how people have bad knees, you have bad wrists.
I have bad wrists. They're so limp and they flail all over the place and they're very effeminate. Welcome back to the Tucker Paulson Show. On January 6th of 2021, armed patriots stormed a swamp run by heathen oligarch crooks who'd violated our sacred American nation by defiling our election. On January 6th, 2024, Patriots South will be storming a different swamp, but not the one in New York, run by a Hitler wannabe red-headed hammer, after C.J. Stroud was clearly and illegally left off the Pro Bowl game's ballot due to clear anti-Texas bias coming from liberal and failing New York. Instead, they'll be doing their Southern patriotic duty, as an army of Stroud boys will head to another swamp, one where only meth lovers would live. One that only has a football team because they stole a football team from Baltimore in the middle of the night. A team run by a crooked drug addict oligarch who only got this team by being in the Lucky Sperm Club. The Patriots South will drain it. No, not drain the sperm. Drain that swamp. What is happening? What is going on? I'll tell you what's going on. The Stroud boys will plant the Texas flag in Indianapolis Saturday, January 6th. You think that's going to be enough motivation for the Texans on Saturday, huh? Those Pro Bowl snubs. Again, the amount that it takes for someone to feel disrespected in 2024, it's a very, very low amount, Sean. And we were talking about it in the break. You had an interesting theory as to why so many athletes are finding disrespect in the smallest things these days.
Yes, and this is literally we've talked about it all year in 2023, and this is the first time I think I've put it all together. Why? Especially because this is a recent finding of ours,
Truly.
recent feeling. I think we have no one else to blame other than Michael Jordan for the I took that personally. In the, what was the documentary called? I forgot what it was called. The Last Dance. I won't call it Jordan Rules. That was the book. In The Last Dance, the fact that he basically manufactured adversity for himself every 3 nights in the NBA. It felt like it was at least twice an episode in The Last Dance. There would be a story where he was like,
And
this guy,
I took that personally.
yeah, this guy thinks he's better than me, and that guy was like, I've never met Michael Jordan before. I've never said that before.
This guy farted on the plane I was on, and
Yeah.
I took that personally.
Remember the guy? There's the story. I think it was like played for Washington. It was like some guy named like Bradford Smith, and Michael Jordan was like, yeah, he scored 20 points in the first half, and he was talking mess to me, saying that he was the league's done. It's his league now, and everyone else was like, he didn't say a word that entire game. I don't know what Michael Jordan's talking about.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happening. I think because athletes, they're just like us. They also watched The Last Dance. They also just had nothing to do and April of 2020, and just like, yeah, sure, I'll watch this every Thursday night or whenever it came out. And I think that has infected the athlete population.
I think this is a great take. Seriously, I agree with you 100%. It does feel like it's gotten worse over the last couple of years. And look, I think everybody in life looks for their own form of motivation.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the reasons that your New Year's resolution is to get in the gym is because a significant other or some lady like shot you down. Like that's great motivational fuel. there are other things. For example, for me, every single time I've been canned, that has pissed me off. Every single time that somebody has doubted my ability, that has made me mad too. And it does vary level to level. Like what actually should, I guess, classify as disrespect in the eyes of others. It's not the same as what you're seeing in your own eyes. But I do think that today's athletes are reaching at levels that they perhaps were not in the past.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it comes from like basically a Michael Jordan propaganda film, and where it's like, this is how he was the greatest of all time, by taking imagined slights and small slights and turning them into fuel. And now everyone does that. And yeah, it isn't just an athlete thing. It's just we talk about the athletes a lot. But I mean, you've never met anyone in your life who's been like, you know what? I've never had anyone that's ever doubted me. Like no one that says that ever. Everyone in your life has had people that doubted, or at least thinks they had people that doubted them, overcame some adversity. Like no one's like, you know what? Everyone believed in me.
I'm trying to think of somebody.
Victor Wembanyama probably has like, you know, a lot of people doubted me. Like LeBron James, a lot of people doubted me.
LeBron has it.
Tom Brady, a lot of people doubted me.
Peyton Manning even has it. And I was trying to think, like, who would be the closest person that to a made man his entire career? And you mentioned one, LeBron, and Peyton Manning, the same thing. But those guys have clearly had doubters, like a lot of them for a while. So there's always going to be a level of that. And sometimes the disrespect is true disrespect. And whatever you got to use as motivational fuel, I'm not telling you to not use it. I just think that there is a much lower threshold to cross to make an athlete feel disrespected these days. And hey, maybe that's just a sign of the times. I do think we're all a little more thin-skinned than we should be.
Hey.
I do.
Hey.
I do.
That was mean.